This man survived 60 duels to the death, never lost once, and the secret he left behind has nothing to do with swords. Most people think fear is the enemy. Musashi proved it is the compass. Here is the part nobody tells you. Miyamoto Musashi was not born fearless. He was not some mythological creature who entered the world already hardened. He was a 17-year-old kid who killed a trained swordsman with a wooden stick because he showed up, committed completely, and refused to let uncertainty stop his body from moving. That is not talent. That is a decision, and it is one you can make right now, sitting exactly where you are. The question is, why don't you? I want to give you the answer Musashi buried inside the Book of Five Rings, not the surface answer about sword angles and footwork. The one underneath all of that, the one that most readers gloss over because they are scanning for combat techniques and completely miss the philosophy that could rewire how they operate for the rest of their lives. But first, I need you to understand something about how your brain is working against you every single day. Something that nobody in school ever explained. Your brain does not distinguish between a real threat and an imagined one. When you sit there thinking about launching the business, sending the message, making the move, your nervous system fires the same alarm as if you were standing at the edge of a cliff. The cortisol is real. The elevated heart rate is real. The tight chest is real. But the danger itself, completely invented. You're sitting in your bedroom, physiologically hijacked, being hunted by something that does not exist yet and may never exist at all. You're fighting a ghost. Musashi's answer to this was not courage. It was not a motivational speech. It was a principle he called no design, no conception. Go in empty, bring no predictions, run no mental simulation of what could go wrong. You step forward and you let reality tell you what it actually is, instead of letting your imagination tell you what it might be. Strip the future of the story you have been narrating over it. Walk in clean. That shift alone is worth more than every productivity system, morning routine, and self-help framework you will ever consume. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable, and I need you to stay with me because this next part is the reason most people never change. I spent 4 months preparing to launch the first real project I ever built online. 4 months of spreadsheets, competitor analysis, contingency plans, notes on what other creators did wrong so I would not repeat their mistakes. 4 months. And at the end of those 4 months, I was more paralyzed than the day I started because every new piece of information I gathered created a new variable to worry about, a new edge case, a new scenario where everything collapsed. The research was not protecting me. It was expanding the territory of things I was afraid of. The day I stopped preparing and started moving, nothing about the external situation changed. The risks were all still there, but something internal shifted because I finally accepted the truth that the path only becomes visible to people who are already walking on it. Standing at the edge, staring into it does not make it clearer. It makes the darkness look deeper. That is not motivation. That is physics. In the Fire book, Musashi writes about something he calls crossing at a ford. He means there is a moment when the conditions align, when the gap in the enemy's position opens, when the narrow crossing appears. And the warrior who hesitates, who waits for a wider crossing or a safer window, or a moment when the risk feels more manageable, will wait until the crossing closes. The warrior who commits his full body and spirit at the exact moment the gap appears gets across. He does not need more information. He needs to move. The crossing does not wait. It has never waited for anyone. But here is the piece of Musashi's thinking that I have never once heard anyone discuss, and I genuinely believe it is the most important idea in this entire video. Musashi never tells you to be brave. He never frames it as overcoming fear. Courage is actually the wrong frame because it implies you're in a fight with fear. You're still engaging with it, still spending energy on it. Musashi says, look past it entirely. Treat fear the way a skilled fighter treats a feint. You clock it, you register it exists, and then you continue moving toward the actual target. You do not take the bait, you do not slow down to address it, you let it hang in the air behind you as you move forward. In Naruto terms, this is how Itachi operates. He is never reacting emotionally to what is directly in front of him. His nervous system is not being hijacked by the immediate threat because he has seen so many threats that none of them fully occupy his attention anymore. His processing power is entirely allocated to what comes next. He is not fearless, he is efficient. That is what Musashi is actually building, not a man without fear, a man who has trained so long in uncertainty that fear stops consuming bandwidth. Now here are 5 things you can apply starting today. Not concepts, operating instructions. First, write the fear down with surgical precision. Not "I am afraid of failing," that is a category, not an opponent. Write exactly this: I am afraid that I will commit 18 months to this and end up exactly where I started, with less money and less credibility. Now you have something with a face. Now you can actually engage with it instead of being ruled by a shapeless dread. Second, compress the unknown down to its smallest possible unit. The unknown at scale is overwhelming. Starting a business is terrifying. Writing the first page of the business plan tonight is not. Musashi trained one cut at a time. Not one battle, not one war. One cut, repeated until it became reflex. Reduce the unknown until it fits inside a single action you can take before you sleep tonight. Third, move before you feel ready. This is the non-negotiable one. Readiness is not a state you arrive at through preparation. It is a feeling that shows up after you have already started, never before. Every person who has built something real started when the conditions were not right. The additional preparation you think you still need is mostly a delay your brain invented to keep you inside the familiar. Fourth, when the first setback hits, do not retreat to planning. This is the exact moment most men lose. The first real obstacle sends them back to the spreadsheets, back to the research phase, back to safety. Musashi writes about continuous cutting, one motion flowing directly into the next with no pause and no room for the opponent to recover. Apply that here. Give the obstacle no recovery window. Keep moving while it is still reeling. Fifth, after you cross, stop and study what was actually on the other side, not to celebrate, to extract intelligence. What did the unknown actually contain when you arrived in it? How does reality compare to what your imagination built? This is how Musashi develops what he calls intuitive judgment. Not through reading, not through thinking, through accumulated contact with real situations. You cannot shortcut it. You have to go touch the thing. Here is what I want to leave you with. The men around you who carry themselves differently, who do not seem rattled by what rattles you, who move with a kind of quiet certainty you cannot quite explain, they are not more gifted. They are not luckier. They have simply crossed more fords. They have walked into the unknown more times than you have, and each crossing left a deposit, a small permanent change in what their nervous system treats as threatening. They did not become fearless. They became experienced. That is the whole game. Musashi spent 50 years walking into situations with no guaranteed outcome, and the conclusion he reached was not a technique. It was this: the void is not where you go to be destroyed. It is where you go to find out who you are. The crossing is open. What are you waiting for? Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos the modern world doesn't want you to see, no algorithms, no censorship, just the truth, then join me on Patreon. Also, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon.